Well, today I wanted to show you a really cool Bible that I've had since the late 90s, and it is a classic Bible that a lot of you know about, but some of you have never heard about or don't know very much about, and it is the Thompson Chain Reference Bible. This one here, I want to show you a lot of close-ups. I wasn't sure how to record this today, so I'm just going to sit down and it is in genuine leather. My wife bought this for me back when we were dating in college in 1999, and it is got my name there on the front and has a nice genuine leather cover with the Thompson Chain Reference Study Bible there on the spine. KJV, King James Version, which I plan to talk about this week in my translation series. It's a red letter version. In the New Testament, the words of Christ are in red letter. It's put out by Kirkbride. This is a genuine leather Smith sewn. And you can tell when you look at the leather here, it has a very pronounced grain to it. It's thick, it's strong. And so this Bible is 20 years old, but has lasted very well. And there you see the title page for the Thompson Chain Reference Bible. This is the 5th improved edition. This is, as I said, a King James version. They now put them out in New King James, the English Standard Version, and the NASB, which presently on their website for Kirkbride said the NASB is not available till next year, but they do produce those. This was 1988, which was when this edition was printed. And I wanted to show you this Bible because it just has so many different helps, and you're going to see that as we get into this. It's so fascinating. If you want to have a Bible that really just helps you to dig into the Scripture itself without a lot of extra words that people are writing notes, but you just want to learn about the Bible, using the Bible, this is a really good reference to have. They cost about $60 for a bonded leather edition, probably $80, $90 for a genuine leather edition. As you get into the Bible here, you'll see just some of the helps that are built into this. It's got the chapter summary right here. It has the author, Moses, and then you'll see numbers that are correlated with the helps in the back that tell about the author, Moses. And there's an analysis of the book in the back, and there's a number there telling you where it is. And already as you get here, you start to see the references. These are called chain references. So they actually start here. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And next to the verse are the verses that correlate with it. And so you can go to John 1:3, Hebrews 1:10, and you will see verses that go along with this theme of in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. And then you have next to this passage other themes and numbers that go with it and verses. And that's basically how this Bible works, is you can see references right next to where the verses are that will correlate with that verse, and you can go to the next verse. And so there's a lot of references as well as notes. The formatting is very interesting. In the King James and in the New King James, it is a verse-by-verse format with these two columns, these double columns right next to each other, and the references on the side. It is a very unique look, but it is classic to the Thompson Chain Bible. It's a nice look. It's actually, for a 8 or 9 point font size, it's pretty readable. And they haven't changed it very much over the years. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So just getting in here, again, you can see dates. This is now in the book of 2 Kings, and we're at Jehoahaz's reign over Israel, and that's 856 BC. So this Bible just is such a great study tool. As we get into the New Testament, you do see it is a red letter for the words of Christ. And this red, people complain about it because it's a pretty bright kind of pinkish red. It'll burn your retinas. It's not the best red in the world, in my opinion. So hopefully I'm not burning your your eyeballs right now showing you this on camera. Hopefully, you know, the camera's shielding you a little bit from the blaze. But no, seriously, it's not that bad. But it's not the best red in the world. But I wanted to show you this whole first part of the Bible is the Bible. This is indexed. So it has tabs that will show you where you can go in the Bible for the different books of the Bible. You have to pay a little extra when you get an indexed Bible. But if you're not as familiar with the books of the Bible, and say you want to go to the book of Romans, wow, there you go. This is right here. I can turn to the book of Romans using that tab. Well, I could if I had two hands to work with. I'm holding the camera with one hand. But there you go. The tab takes you right to Romans. Now, let's get to the helps. The first part of the Bible is the Bible itself. And then right here we begin the second part of this particular Bible, which are all the helps. Look at that. So aside from the chain references that are in the Bible, you can go along and read those references as you're looking at the verses. They actually put the chains back here. You'll see that. And this whole system here, reference system, is divided into 8 parts. It uses kind of old wording like the text cyclopedia, but you'll get the idea as we get into this. This gives you right here the index for all of the different pages where the helps are. And we get right into the index. So those numbers that you saw earlier in the Bible, these numbers here, go along with the numbers that you see here. So let's get into the actual chain references. And these are topics. And so basically they're taking the chain references that are in the Bible and putting them all together here under a certain topic. And some of them actually have the verses not only listed, but printed out for you, which is awesome. So, you know, you want to read about this theme here, and then there are all the verses that go along with it. And there's a lot of them that are like that. And again, these numbers correlate with the numbers that you see next to the topics that are in the Bible itself. So you have 2 ways of looking up the chain. One is right here, and the other is back here to see the entire chain of references. Really awesome. So that's why people like this Bible so much. It has been around since, I think, 1908, these chain reference Bibles, and people love them because it's just such a great system for studying. And now, the downside to this might be it's easier to take verses out of context because you're just looking at one verse here, one verse there, one verse over there. So you got to be careful about that. Always read verses in context. But if you want to see how different themes fit together in the Bible, this is a really good study tool. Here are some special Bible readings, so you can use these for private devotions and public services. You could use these topics kind of as a foundation for lessons that you want to do. Maybe teaching other people in different settings. And again, a lot of these have the verses printed out, so you could just take this and read the verses and share the scripture with people, or use it for devotional purposes, as it says. I'm just kind of doing a quick overview of all the different helps that are back here. It has a really kind of old school look to it. As I've said, you know, some Bibles have that, and I think that's really cool. This shows you just some great things here, both about the intertestamental period as well as translations of the Bible from over different centuries. Really neat stuff. And then as we continue along in here, we've got outline of the books of the Bible. So these are fairly detailed outlines of each book of the Bible, which is great. It allows you just to kind of go through. And you'll see also there's a lot of interesting illustrations in a Thompson Chain Bible. And I think they all have these. They may not look exactly the same when they do a reprinting of it or do a different translation, but they still have a lot of these different illustrations. Here are more of the different outlines of the books. And then we'll get to the next section here, or another section here. Again, just to show you that these incredible illustrations they have. This is Jesus' tree of life, and it's all these verses that go along with different moments in his life. But what's interesting is these are actually numbered, and when you when you look at the chart here, you can actually see, wow, here are the different things happening in the life of Jesus. So if you're a visual person, it's pretty awesome. I'm not, so I actually find this to be very overwhelming. I don't use this a whole lot. I just get confused by all the numbers. But for those of you who are visual, I think that would mean a lot to you. That would be really helpful to you. And either way, you can see it outlines the life of Jesus, and it's pretty awesome, going from how he existed before time in the form of God, he became a man, and then he suffers and dies on the cross, and then he's risen. So it's just so cool. Here's a harmony of the Gospels. That's taking the first 4 books of the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the life of Jesus, and showing you all the events in the life of Jesus that, again, go with these numbers over here. It puts it in outline form, and then the scripture passages that go, and you can see how the different Gospels, the writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, write about these different events. Some of them, write about the same events. We see it multiple times. John tends to write about some of the same events, but also include some other events. And so you can see how those passages line up. So that's a harmony of the Gospels. Journeys of Jesus in his early life. So it just shows you, there's a lot of maps in here, a lot of things to help you to dig in and understand the Bible better. Let's go to another section now. Again, I'm just trying to give a quick overview. Here's a concordance, which just tells you different words that are in the Bible. It's not every single word in the Bible. That would be an exhaustive concordance. Also exhausting to carry and to read because it's so big. But this is a condensed concordance. But it's still a very thorough concordance compared to a lot of Bibles, which is what you'd expect in a Thompson Chain Bible. It's going to be thorough. And then finally here, as you get to the very back, just a few more helps. I actually didn't mention before, but it does have an archaeological section. There is an archaeological section so that you can read about different places and people and artifacts that have been discovered. It's really cool, and you can see pictures of that. And then finally, you have the helps for the maps here, where to find things on the maps, and then concluding with the maps itself, and they're really nice. So that is a Thompson Chain Reference Bible. Like I said, I've had this for 20 years. I haven't used it all the time. I used it more when I first got it, back when I used the King James Bible a lot more. But it is a sturdy Bible that should last you a long time if you get one of these. And I also advise you get one of these just because it's good to have it as a tool for study. So that's a little overview of this cool Bible. It's a King James Version, and the King James Version is, like I said, my next topic, so stay tuned. This week I hope to get that video done to talk about how the King James Version was translated. Thanks so much for watching this little overview of the Thompson Chain Reference Bible from a Frisch perspective.